sunny stretch. There are some downsides, obviously. There are parts of our viewing area that are actually dry.
Yes.
So this long dry stretch won't help that. And then our friends across the lake in Michigan, they've been very dry.
They have.
Yeah, their drought monitor covers pretty much the whole state.
Yeah.
So I suppose we have to be careful what we applaud, but I'm pretty happy for all my weekend plans. Hopefully you'll be happy for your weekend plans. Steph will have the regional outlook in just a little bit. But we start our show with some incredible video from overseas. Dozens of people are dead and more are hurt after super typhoon tore through several Asian countries. Typhoon Ragasa brought heavy rain, damaging waves to Hong Kong and China's shores this morning after leaving a wake of destruction in Taiwan and the Philippines. 14 people have been reported dead in Taiwan and 10 have been killed in the Philippines. In Hong Kong, the storm brought strong winds, which damaged many pedestrian bridges and trees. The country experienced winds reaching up to 120 miles per hour. Wow. More than 30 people ended up in the hospital with injuries. That video is just stark.
Those waves were high.
Yeah, unbelievable. And then a dam broke in one area, and they had all this rain. Of course, the storm surge, and the list goes on and on. So our thoughts go out to those folks dealing with that essentially on the other side of the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now much better news for those of us at home. That, of course, a month after the historic flooding, FEMA says it's sticking around to help. So starting today, Milwaukee will be the third county to open disaster recovery centers. It's an extra tool that those applying for FEMA aid. There will be county, state, and federal agencies available. You can also talk to the Small Business Administration about no-interest loans. Right now, you can apply online at disasterassistance.gov. For those locations, check out the Fox Local mobile app. And now the deadline to apply for FEMA aid is November 12th, so you've got some time, but got to get that done.
But that's going to go pretty quickly, and I would imagine there's quite a bit of applications and forms and things that you need to get done. So I would urge anybody out there that is unfortunately still dealing with all this to kind of move as quickly as possible.
Yeah, but that's also what these help centers are for, too. They can help you with those applications.
Look at these beautiful scenes.
Gorgeous.
Wow.
This is what we're waiting for, right?
Exactly.
All right, well, it's now officially the fall season, and as we dive deeper, you may notice the fall foliage colors a bit sooner. Environmental experts say pre-autumn weather changes have impacted trees in many prime regions across the country. So the colors are still expected to be bright this year, but the August drought began the transition process earlier than ever. So the continued dry conditions mean that they probably won't stick around for long. Something just to keep in mind. But I think also here locally, we had that stretch of cooler nights in August too, at the end of August. So I do think that may have helped speed things up just a little bit. But now we're beginning to slow down. Which is good, because we want to stretch this out, be able to enjoy it as much as possible. And I know in my neighborhood, and just between here and home, you see like one tree that looks beautiful, and the next tree not so much. I mean, you can kind of see that just in those boulevard trees, right? Some of them are still fully green, others are starting to show some nice color. So it'll be an interesting fall. Last few falls have been kind of hit or miss, a little sporadic. Agreed. But we like to draw the season out so we get more weekends to enjoy the amazing colors that were in that video. All right, so we want to take you north, not just north to Door County for the leaf peeping, even farther north with Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks for a bit of a different POV.
Well, I want to take you to my trip in the Canadian Rockies. Take a look at this. This is just north of Banff by about 45 minutes. Banff, the town of Banff, often synonymous with the Canadian Rockies. So you may have heard of that, or maybe you've been there. This is Lake Louise, which again is north of that area, and there's no filter on this. Isn't this incredible? I took a horseback ride around the lake, and it obviously was amazing. The photo doesn't even do it justice. Look at that water. I mean, that is like Caribbean-esque turquoise water right there. Of course, much colder, right, than the Caribbean, but absolutely stunningly beautiful there. We were on the far side of the lake. There's a beach on the far side of the lake there, which is where we were when this picture was taken. This is another lake. This is Pedo Lake, and this is along Icefields Parkway, which I'll show you here in just a moment. I mean, are you kidding me? Look at this. And again, no filter with this one. And you can see, I mean, look at the reflection there in the water. And we hit this just right. The weather was absolutely gorgeous with the blue and sunny skies in place, but stunning. I mean, just some of the most beautiful scenery I have ever seen in my life on this trip. Now, this is the Icefields Parkway, and according to the Canada Parks Service, it is one of the top 10 most scenic drives in the world. And I can attest to that because every time you would take a turn on the Icefields Parkway, which is in the Jasper National Park in Canada, you would encounter views like this. I mean, it was just absolutely breathtaking everywhere you turn. It is just beautiful. Take a look at this. So we pulled over at one point. I mean, all of this is really untouched, by the way. And so pulled over at one point, there's nobody around, and we walked down to this creek, and it was absolutely beautiful. The sun's starting to go behind the mountains, and this creek or river that is flowing at a good clip here. I mean, you could just imagine, you know, like when you hear in an app, right? You try to calm down in an app and you put the river or the rushing water. That's what this was. I mean, it was like something out of a movie. It was absolutely beautiful. So that's called the Icefields Parkway, and this was about 2.5 hours to the away from the Banff area, if you're familiar with that area. So again, gorgeous, gorgeous drive there, gorgeous scenery. This is the town of Banff, and I mean, again, the scenery is incredible. A lot of shops, a lot of restaurants. There's a famous hotel there as well, and I would put this in somewhat like a Boulder, Colorado vibe or a Jackson Hole, Wyoming vibe. Again, with the mountains and all the shops and the restaurants. And I'll end you with this. So we flew into Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and then the drive is roughly an hour and a half to get up to Banff from Calgary. So we did one night at a restaurant in one of the high rises on the 40th floor in downtown Calgary, and it was at sunset. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. Everybody's so nice there in Canada. So that, again, kind of rounded out the view that we came back to the United States. But it was just a wonderful, wonderful trip. And as a meteorologist, I mean, getting to stand on a glacier was incredible. The sightseeing was amazing. Boat rides, horseback rides, a little bit of hiking. It was an incredible, incredible vacation. Definitely a bucket list item for sure.
Go, some beautiful shots there.
The watercolor.
It almost looked fake.
It did. We thought it was an AI image.
It wasn't. And of course, my luck, I've been to Lake Louise years ago, and the day we went, it was gray and it rained all day. So we didn't have nearly the same luck as Tom did. But beautiful pictures. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, great, meteorologically, for the point of view of just being with that glacier, being up in those mountains. And speaking of the mountains, we go a little farther down that mountain chain in Colorado.
Oh, goodness, is
beginning
that snow.
to look a lot like
don't
winter.
Do it, Rob.
Yeah, heavy snow blanketing the high peaks in Rocky Mountain National Park. Anywhere from 3 to 8 inches. This isn't a dusting, Steph. Anywhere from 3 to 8 inches expected there. There are snow, of course. The trails are being closed because of it. It's really usually pretty busy season for there. As tourists check out the changing colors of the leaves, is usually what they're doing there. But now they're checking out the changing color of everything as it all changes to white, making us think of the cold air that's coming.
Yeah, right, exactly. And with the cold air comes heating costs, as we know. And across the country, they could absolutely be going up this winter. The National Energy Assistant Directors Association predicts the average household will spend up to $976 throughout the winter. That's more than 7% increase from last year, which the association says is because of rising electricity and natural gas costs. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports average electricity prices across the country already increased by 6.2% in August, and natural gas prices are up 13.8% from last year. I mean, everything is up. everything.
Very true. I'm not looking forward to those, and I think my kids are all going to get thermal socks and hoodies for Christmas, so that
Blankets.
they can just bundle up. Yeah, blankets, because I'm not cranking the heat up, kids.
Have you ever put a blanket over a window before?
Oh yes.
I remember doing that as a kid.
Whatever
on those
it
really
takes.
cold nights.
I've got the plastic sheets up, the blankets up, whatever it takes.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly, and hopefully your bills won't be too bad. Certainly, we won't be running the furnace this week. Maybe the AC for some.
Which is pretty incredible, but humidity levels look a little lower in the days ahead, so that is a plus. But we are heading into a really nice stretch of weather. Now, today, most of southern and central Wisconsin has seen an increase in cloud cover. All of this has been moving in from the north as well as Door County, but notice the rest of northern Wisconsin has started to clear back out. So for today, we're still going to have some clouds from time to time. As we broaden the view, our clouds here in Wisconsin are still thanks to this lingering low pressure system that's bringing a lot of rain, a lot of thunder, and even some flooding to areas out east, extending from parts of Michigan up to about New York, soon to be full New England states, and then all the way down to the southern plains and the lower Mississippi Valley. So there's a lot going on towards the south and the east of us. We are just on the westernmost edge now of this storm system with the cloud cover, but by tomorrow, clouds are going to thin out, eventually clear, and then high pressure system is going to move on in. Now, there is the chance for some severe weather, not a huge threat today, but down south where we have these low pressure systems and cold fronts, we'll say from about Nashville all the way down to southern Texas, there is that marginal risk. I'd say an even bigger threat for some heavy rain and some flooding, especially for areas down towards the south. Again, lower Mississippi Valley, Louisiana, on into Texas, but then also notice southeast of us, not too far, places like Tennessee as well as Kentucky, right where you're seeing those yellow colors, that's a level 2 chance for some flooding and some heavy rainfall. So not a huge threat for a ton of severe weather today. Maybe a little bit, but south of us, there will be the chance for some heavy rainfall. Now we're going to watch this high pressure system and notice how all of western portions of our country, for the most part, with the exception of parts of California, are under a high pressure system. We are going to see these moving in our direction over the next couple of days. In fact, we're still looking at the potential of that blocking pattern heading into the weekend, meaning stalled low pressure towards the southeast of us, another stalled low out towards the west, keeping that high pressure system in the central U.S. here for the next couple of days. So we have a good stretch of sunshine starting tomorrow all the way into at least early next week. Now going forward, still some cloud cover for today, maybe a stray sprinkle, but most of us are looking dry across the state of Wisconsin. I do think we'll see a little bit of morning cloud cover tomorrow, maybe some patchy fog, but by midday and certainly by the afternoon, those clouds should clear. That is going to be day one of sunshine for us. And I can not stress this enough. It's going to continue into next week. So those still trying to keep the lawn looking good, keep those flowers alive, maybe your garden is still going, you will still need to do some watering in the days ahead because that natural water, it's not coming anytime soon. Expect some cloud cover to stick around in Milwaukee today, temperature right around 70. And let's go elsewhere. Madison is also going to see the cloud cover today, but a little warmer. High temperature is going to climb well into the 70s. Up to La Crosse, same story, but clearing out a little quicker out in western Wisconsin tonight. Will likely stay clear then tomorrow. So not expecting as much cloud cover to start Thursday morning in western Wisconsin, but you can see those cooler temps today going to stick around. A very common theme across the state of Wisconsin today. Upper 60s for highs in Green Bay, much like what we'll see in the Milwaukee area, but overall looking pretty quiet. From here, though, we are going to climb quite a bit when it comes to temperatures. Tomorrow will still likely be in the low 70s, but then we're looking at a stretch of upper 70s to maybe even some low 80s. But the good news with that is that our mornings and our evenings are still going to be cool. Very typical, enjoyable fall-like weather where we wake up to 50s, climb to 70s briefly in the afternoon, and then fall again very nicely into the evening. So a great temperature trend ahead. Just know we're still looking to stay above average too, heading on into the next month. We'll say it's hard to believe we're already towards the end of September here. So Climate Prediction Center, this goes all the way out to the first week of October now.
Sure.
Staying above average.
And even the fall outlook looks to be on the above average side.
It does.
Of course, those averages trend downward.
True.
Average high by the end of fall is in the 40s.
Yes.
So above average, still cool,
Easy
crisp
to
kind of autumn day, but we'll definitely take it. It's a nice stretch ahead. Hope you have a lovely weekend. And of course, it was lovely weather as NASA finally successfully launched its latest IMAP mission at 7:30 this morning. The launch sending weather satellites into space was supposed to take off Tuesday morning, but had to be delayed. The weather, though, was picture perfect at launch time, as you can see.
Good news there.
What incredible video that is. All right, we'll be back. We have more incredible video. In fact, we'll check in live with meteorologist Lisa Michaels talking allergies next.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wisconsin Weather Experts again on this Wednesday. Thanks for staying with us here on Fox Local, as well as our Fox 6 YouTube page. Well, as we all know, fall allergy season is underway, and meteorologist Lisa Michaels is with the experts here for an update. And Lisa, maybe some backstory for everybody. I wanted to be with you today because this is so fascinating to me.
I know.
We're lucky enough to get emails from this specific doctor daily on allergies and allergens, especially for each season. So please take it away and tell us more about what you're doing today.
Yeah, so this is very special. We're going to bring science into the weather show, but in a way that's a little bit different. Of course, we're entering in fall, and for those who have suffered from allergies like myself, you know that you pay attention close, whether it's spring or fall, especially for some of those allergen levels that could be higher. And we are very lucky to have the owner of the Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Center here, Dr. Gary Stephen, and his lovely wife, Renee Stephen, which you guys do something really specific and different than I think what most allergists do. So I wanted to thank you for bringing us into your science center here, but what do you do that is so different on a daily basis that's a little labor intensive?
We do the pollen counts for southeastern Wisconsin. There are only about 3 pollen counting stations in the state of Wisconsin, and like you said, most allergists don't do this. It is a very labor intensive, but it's cool. It's always helpful to know what's out there. People like to know, what is this season like, which days are going to be bad and things like that. And so it brings some interesting information to folks.
So you talk about pollen counting. Step us through, what do you do when you pollen count? I mean, are you going out there, and obviously you can't see it, what is entailed to get the pollen counts in the air every day?
It's a device called a Burkhardt spore trap. It was originally developed for mold spores. We use it for pollen as well. That sucks air in on a continuous basis, 24 hours a day. And everything that is floating in the air slams into a slide that has some silicone grease on it. And after 24 hours, we bring the slide down, we stain it, I put it under the microscope, and Renee scans over the slide and counts everything that she sees in there.
And something I think you did not mention is you have to climb a ladder to go into a
Do
roof.
have to climb a ladder
every day.
Yes.
So now, Renee, I want you to step us through a little bit. You talked about how when we get all the pollen levels, it goes under the microscope. What is your process when you bring that inside here into the office?
Sure. When it first comes down, I have to stain it with a pink stain, and that highlights all of the features of the pollen. You can see one of the slides. This is today's slide, and it's stained pink, and then under the microscope it goes at 400 magnification, and then that allows me to see all of the pollen grains of the day.
Okay, and I can see here, Eddie, our lovely photographer, is going to zoom in. We are showing ragweed pollen counts, correct? Because this is the time of the year. And it's really fascinating because when you look at this, it obviously just looks like a bunch of unique oblong shapes on the screen here. But this is what's going into our body, correct?
Yes, we inhale this every day. A lot of the larger particles get stuck in the nose. That's why we have hairs in the nose. People think they're annoying. They actually serve a purpose. It helps as a first filter so that less of this makes it all the way down into the sinuses and down into our lungs.
So something I would love to at least see is you guys are not only viewing what's in the air, but you are documenting it on a sheet so you can keep track of those counts, right, throughout the year. And what is really beneficial for us as meteorologists is you send us this information daily, which we love. So whenever you see us having a graphic of the pollen counts, it's all because of the work that you two do, so we can provide local information to our viewers. For someone maybe who might miss the weather forecast and doesn't see the pollen counts, do you have this public on your website too, so people can go to?
Yeah, it is on the practice website. We also have a pointer, MilwaukeePollen.com.
Perfect. Okay, and again, the best part is you said there's only 3 people in Wisconsin, correct, who are doing this. Why are more doctors not doing this? I mean, if someone goes to their generic weather app and it has the pollen counts, that you're saying that's not necessarily accurate, right? Or do you know how it comes up with that amount?
That I do not.
Okay.
The national services that post it, I don't know where their data has come from historically. There are now some automated sites that the computer using AI will measure these in real time. They are not as accurate as this, and they do not identify all of the species. That's one of the main reasons that we do this, is we can keep track of what people are being exposed to. And as an allergy practice, I make sure that I am testing and treating people to whatever is in the air that they are allergic to. And we did have one very concrete example of this over the last few years. Privet is a kind of a cross between a tree and a shrub, but it is an invasive species. And for 20 years, we didn't see any of it. It moved into Wisconsin starting in 2019 and has been increasing ever since. And so since we know that and we have this information, we see it, now people are being exposed to it. We started testing to it. We're finding people that are allergic to privet now, and now we're starting to treat people for that.
Yeah, so a lot of the data you're collecting is very beneficial for locals here. Well, I wanted to thank you for taking your time and showing us a little bit behind the scenes. One exclusive you said is, tell us one thing before we wrap up here about ragweed. Is ragweed still ongoing, or what's the news?
Just with today's count, we were able to establish that the ragweed season officially ended on Sunday.
Perfect.
This year.
There we go. Well, there we go. We got the exclusive. We are going to have a little more time in one of the shows coming up of what it's like to go on the roof, so you can tune in, and we'll be, again, showing a little more about what you do. But thank you so much for giving us the insight here, because it does impact a lot of people locally.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great. Thank you so much, Lisa. We will have plenty more coming up here on Wisconsin Weather Experts. Stay with us. to Wisconsin Weather Experts. Fantastic segment before the break with Lisa and Dr. Gary Stevens. Just fascinating. Again, those are the allergy reports that we put on our newscasts. But moving on, this is pretty cool. A Russian farmer has a record-breaking pumpkin. This champion pumpkin weighed in at more than a ton at a giant vegetable growing contest in Moscow. It took over 6 months to grow, according to the farmer. He says it starts with choosing the right seeds, as well as building a special greenhouse to make it look that good. Thank you again for watching another episode of Wisconsin Weather Experts. We will see you tomorrow at noon.